Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
This news just out, it's being reported by Express Group newspapers.
John Swift is having a Portsmouth medical today ahead of a free transfer to Fratton Park. The 30-year-old, who grew up just a stone's throw away in Gosport, has been unattached since his West Bromwich Albion contract expired at the end of June. But he is now set to seal an emotional return to the club he spent 1 year with as a schoolboy, before moving on to the Chelsea Academy. Express Sport understands that Swift has agreed a 2-year contract with Pompey, which includes the option to extend his stay for a further 12 months. And, barring an unexpected twist, everything is in place for the move to be signed off. Portsmouth's owners have approved the switch, which will ensure Swift continues his career in the Championship after spending all of the last decade in the second tier. The South Coast outfit held talks with Swift's camp earlier in the window, and although they broke down relatively quickly, they have since been revived during a recent pre-season training camp in Slovakia.
So this is good news. We're still anticipating rather than confirming, but it does look very likely that John Swift is about to become a Pompey player on a 2-year contract with a 1-year option, and at the age of 30, he's got plenty of miles left in those legs, so that isn't an issue. Let's just remind ourselves, he stands 6 foot, 1.82 centimetres, metres, stand corrected. I don't do them. I've got a mental block about how tall somebody is in centimetres. It doesn't work for me. You're either 6 foot or you're not, kind of thing. He's down as an attacking midfielder who also plays left wing. So there's an element of versatility about him there, which we know John Messino is very fond of. He was born, of course, in our neck of the woods. It's described as a stone's throw from Fratton Park. It would be a very big throw, but he's local, just like Marlon Pack. He's local. And, of course, just as the dear departed, I don't mean dead, I mean just on his way, Matt Ritchie was, one wonders whether the announcement that Matt Ritchie was to be let go and the impending announcement that John Swift is joining the club is a coincidence, or whether the two are somehow linked. And Matt Ritchie may have been told, look, we've got someone coming in. He's, like you, an experienced, polished, but at the same time robust midfield player, 5 or 6 years younger than you. You can probably guess what I'm going to say next, even though you won't want to hear it. And so Richie said, I'll take the bus ticket off the island, if I may, and leave with good grace and amicably. So Swift is coming. He began his career at Soccer City in Fareham. Then he moved to Kickers in Eastleigh. From there, he joined Pompey. That was in 2005 when he was a 10-year-old. But according to one source, he was released after just 1 season. Other versions are that he turned his back on Pompey because he was more ambitious and he liked the look of Chelsea. But there's some little bits of information that fill in the gaps here. After Pompey, he joined Chandlersford Tornadoes and then spent 6 months with Premier League club Chelsea as an under-13. Then he was released by Chelsea, didn't make the grade, and he joined Pace Youth in Southampton. And then Fulham, Portsmouth and Southampton began to show some interest in him. So obviously he was maturing during these years as an early teenager. But he rejoined Chelsea after having a good trial with them in 2007. Whilst still an under-15, he made his under-18 debut. That was during 2009-2010 season. He was part of the under-15 Chelsea's team success in the junior section of the 2010 Milk Cup, scoring in a 3-0 victory over Cruz Azul in the final. As a senior, he began training with the first team whilst still a youngster in the 2013-2014 season, late teens, and was rewarded for his form with the under-21s by being named as a substitute for the final match of the campaign against Cardiff City. But then he kind of hit a roadblock and Chelsea lent him out. to Rotherham United, which is not completely ignominious, but it's not where he obviously hoped to be by the time he was becoming a proper young man, a fully grown young man, and plying his trade. So he went to Rotherham for a bit. He then was loaned out to Swindon. Again, it's not the stuff his dreams were made of. Then he was loaned to Brentford, and finally he sort of found his place in the English football world, and he signed a 3-year contract with Reading. But he did a good job there, a solid job. He was nominated for the EFL Young Player of the Year, along with Ryan Ledson and Ollie Watkins. He signed a 5-year contract with Reading, keeping him at the club till 2022. And he had a nose for the goal. In September 2021, he scored a hat-trick in a 3-3 draw against Queen's Park Rangers, and then came a 3-year contract with West Brom. It was a free transfer that took him there, but he is now a free agent because that contract has run out, and he's about to square the circle and come back home to the club where his flirtations with professional football very first began, and that is us. And we reckon he's going to be a very good fit, and so does John Messino and the rest of the team, and he's absolutely nailed on to be a fan's favourite. John Swift, on the point of signing a contract.
Speaking about Robertson joining Pompey, Adrian Sejikic says, "Of course I could understand if we wanted to sign him. I work closely with his dad, who is more on the mentoring side of things for me. He was a footballer and he played for the Socceroos as well, so for him to be by my side is amazing. No, he doesn't like me talking about him too much, but he's been a massive part of my career and journey so far, helping me in a lot of ways. I think with Alexander all the fans loved him here, because of how good he was and the quality he has. So yes, of course it would be good to play alongside him here. I saw all that stuff when people saw Mark Robertson at my unveiling. I wanted Mark to be here, because of the part he's played in my career, and how much he's taken care of me. What he has done for me has helped me so much. He's a decent part of why I'm here, and where I am today. How much he's helped me, the advice and speaking to me has really influenced me and my decisions. It's amazing to have someone like that by my side."
Yes, he's obviously a pretty good Aussie bloke, is Mark Robertson. And of course, because we've got Adrian Sejikic at our side, in our club, in the building, out on our grass, then he is going to keep our sniff of getting Alex Robertson, or Alexander, as Adrian apparently calls him, if that quotation that we just heard is correct, that he's going to be associated with Robertson and the possibility of Robertson coming back to Fratton Park because of the connection between Alex Robertson's dad and Adrian Sejikic. So we're probably getting our hopes up a little bit higher than is justified, if only because every time Sejikic is interviewed, spoken to, listened to, asked questions, the subject of Robertson obviously comes up. And what a mouth-watering prospect it is to think that at the start of this coming season, which is now less than 4 weeks away, we are going to be lining up a serious professional footballer in John Swift, this lightning, tantalising, goal-scoring midfielder Adrian Sejikic, and the possibility, and it's a thin possibility, but we are entitled to daydream at this point in the transfer window, Alex Robertson as well. And then it will be a case of shame we couldn't get Freddie Potts back for another season, but we don't actually need him anymore, because we are beginning to build a very solid midfield team. We mustn't forget we got Callum Lang to fit in amongst all of this. We wish Matt Ritchie well, but he's not part of the picture, and we can all begin to see why now he's no longer part of the picture. We've got John Swift, we've got Sejikic. The possibility that Alex Robertson may be returning is going to be one to enjoy dreaming about, but we mustn't get unrealistic about it. We mustn't get greedy. football news agency FLW, that stands for Football League World, won't leave the Abu Kamara going to Portsmouth again story alone. They're saying this today.
Hull City winger Abu Kamara could be available for a cut price fee this summer, amid financial instability at the East Yorkshire-based club, which should alert former side Portsmouth. After an excellent loan campaign in 2023-24 with Pompey, which saw John Mousinho's side win League One, the Norwich City youngster was a hot topic of interest for many Championship sides last summer. At the time, Southampton boss Russell Martin was one of the parties interested, as well as his former loan club, but it was Hull who landed his signature on a permanent deal. Now the Tigers have been placed under a transfer embargo thanks to financial issues, and could be forced to sell key players for less than their valuation. This has seen Martin, now in charge of Scottish Giants Rangers, rekindle his interest in Kamara, ahead of a potential swoop. However, Portsmouth could look to take advantage of the situation unfolding at the MKM Stadium by bringing the winger back to Fratton Park on the cheap, after they missed out on him last summer. The 21-year-old netted 8 goals and chipped in with 10 assists for the Blues 2 years ago, and the long-awaited reunion at Fratton Park could be key, as Kamara would bring another important outlet in the wide areas for Mousinho's men.
You get the impression, don't you, that some people are going to run and run and run with the Abu Kamara, is he coming back to Pompey story right the way up to the window closing, unless of course he comes, and then it'll be a different conversation, a different set of thoughts. Wouldn't we be delighted to have him back? And we've talked about this before on Pompey Sound, to have Segacic, Swift, Alex Robertson, Abu Kamara. Apparently the door is still slightly open for Freddie Potts, and all of a sudden we go from one or two people panicking about our lack of central midfield. We could end up completely top heavy. Abu Kamara, is he coming back to Portsmouth? There is an emotional tie there, it seems. Is that enough? Surely at the end of the day, with all of us, when it comes to work, as long as we're in work, we want as much money for doing that job as possible. And if that means going to one club rather than the other, perhaps going to a club that we don't have the same emotional attachment to, which is how it would be if he went to play for Rangers, Glasgow Rangers. He'd be in a strange city. He knows Portsmouth. He'd be in a strange environment, people-wise, whereas he knows a lot of the players and all of the management at Pompey. He'd be starting afresh at Rangers, whereas he has happy memories. He's a fan's favourite. He knows how to. He knows his way around the maze that is the room space, dressing rooms and corridors and what have you, at Fratton Park. So it's a familiar environment for him. He might even be able to find the same accommodation that he had during the year that he was with us. So there are lots of things in our favour. But at the end of the day, it's going to be down to Luca. Filthy Luca. If Rangers can pay him 2 and 3 times what we're able to pay him, because John Swift's wages won't be a row of beans at all, and Kamara would want to be paid, getting on for what he's being paid for at Hull at the moment. So we have to take that into consideration as well as everything else. And there will be a transfer fee because he's got, 2 more years to run on his Hull contract, possibly with an option for another one. So he's fully ball and chained to Hull, and they're going to want to get as much money for him as they possibly can. And he's going to want to get as good a salary for himself as he possibly can, because the suspicion is that he would have liked to have stayed at Portsmouth. He would have liked Portsmouth to come in with an offer that Hull would accept. I beg your pardon, that Norwich would accept, but it was Hull that went and did that. Hull being at the time a moneybags club. Now it looks as though their backs are to the wall financially. So we don't wish any club ill. We like Hull. We wanted them to stay up. I don't know why. When they came for that game at the end of the season, everybody I saw was going up to Hull fans and saying, "Good luck. We're with you all the way." But all's fair in love, war, and football. And if their financial problems turn out to have a silver lining for us at Pompey, then we'll say, hard lines, we are thinking of you because we've been in similar situations ourselves. But what matters to us most of all is bringing this young superstar in the making back to Fratton Park.